The number one reason that you should unfollow me is because I will boast about Jesus. I will talk about God. I will talk about Jesus. I will talk about my testimony. I will be bringing him into everything. Every single topic, every single thing that I do, God will always be involved. And if that's something that makes you uncomfortable, go on ahead and unsubscribe. It's so wild to me that recently I have been having these thoughts that the enemy has just been slowly just whispering in my ear. Who cares? Nobody wants to hear your story. Nobody wants to hear what the Lord has done for you. There's more than enough people on here who are sharing their testimonies, sharing the gospel, talking about God. Why are you doing the same thing? There's more than enough people. You do not need to take up space in that area. And I have just been starting to slowly believe it and starting to question whether or not God actually called me to share my story, to share the testimony, to share the things that he has brought me out of. And I know now, looking at this, hence why I'm recording this video, is that that was just the work of the enemy. The devil was trying to use that to stop me from actually speaking out loud and sharing that, because God would never tell me that. God will never tell me or you that, hey, you know what? There's enough people talking about the goodness of what I've done for them. You should just maybe hold back. You don't want to be one of those people who are just also adding to the space. And the enemy has been saying adding to the noise. And that is just so not true. And that is so just, God would never say that. Just really question that and just really ask, okay, is that something that is coming from the Lord? Is that something that's coming from the enemy? And I know that that has been coming from the enemy for me, because there was a moment in time when I was in such a deep, deep, dark postpartum depression and anxiety and all that stuff, where I was so sad. I had gone through a huge, loss of friendships and just going through a lot of different changes. We were coming out of a pandemic, and it was a couple years in, and I just felt so alone and so isolated. I look at it now that God was actually trying to draw me closer to him, but in reality, the enemy was using the circumstances and things that I had gone through as a way to be like, see, look, you are alone. See, look, nobody cares about you. See, look, God's not even here for you. And I started to believe that lie as well. And it brought me down this huge rabbit hole and this huge struggle, because not only did I start to believe it, but I was also just dealing with so much as a first-time mom, and just the hormone changes and the brain changes and just physical changes. There was just so many things going on that the enemy really used that opportunity as a time to just speak death over me, essentially, because I had gotten so depressed and feeling like, as someone who is, I can do it all, I can take care of myself, I'm not weak, I am the strong one, I don't need to ask for help. That type of mentality and that belief really got me even further and further away from actually going to God and asking God for help and to help and rescue me when I was going through these bouts of just depression and just feeling very worthless and very purposeless. And I remember there was a time where I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the day. I can't be here anymore. And like, I wasn't believing that. Like, that's what the enemy was telling me. He was just saying, yeah, just go. Your kids will be just fine without you. They would actually be better off without you, because you are so depressed and going through all this stuff. Like, who wants to be around you? Who wants to be around that? And I believed it. So much so to the point where I got into the garage, I turned on the car and I closed the garage, and I'm like, this is how it's going to be. And I remember my husband came in and he got me out of the garage, and I was just bawling and in tears, like shaking and just being like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like there's something wrong with me and I don't want to be here. It was just, when I think back on that time, my heart just breaks for that version of me who believed these lies that were not true. And I remember just being like, I don't want to be around anyone. I didn't even want to be next to my husband. I didn't even want to be next to my kid. I didn't want to be anything else. Like, I just need to be by myself. And I remember going up to our spare room. It was like my son's playroom at the time. And I just got down on my knees and I just wept. I wept. And I just cried and I just prayed out to the Lord and said, please help me. Lord, please help me. And then this overwhelming just sense of peace came over me when moments before I had just felt so anxious and just so on edge, that this feeling of peace just came over me. And next thing I knew, I was like actually journaling again. I was writing things down. I felt like there was like a little glimmer of hope, a little glimmer of peace. And God was like, I'm not done with you. I am not done with you yet. And I remember just releasing and surrendering and making a promise to God that I was going to give my life to him again, because I had gotten baptized in like 2017 and then went down this whole rabbit hole of new age and really questioning my religion and what do I believe in, and just going through all this bouts of just confusion. And I was like, no, Jesus, I believe in you. I am going to sacrifice and give my life to you. You have saved me, and I am going to speak and talk about you and all things that you've done. And looking back now, 3 years, 4 years later, however many years later, I am not that same woman anymore. My mind has truly been renewed. I know that I am here for a purpose. I know that I'm here for a reason. And the enemy tried to use that, and it's just like so silly, because he was trying to stop me from even sharing something like this today. And I'm like, no, that is not God. That's not from God. He would not tell me to keep my mouth shut when it comes to boasting and talking about him. Like scripture says in 2 Corinthians 10:17, if you want to boast, boast only about the Lord. I'm talking about what God has done for me. Why would that not be something beneficial for somebody else who is maybe going through a very similar situation, who is feeling lost, who is feeling hopeless, who is feeling like God doesn't hear me? God does hear you. And if you're maybe coming across this at whatever time, I don't know. I just hope and I pray that this is connecting with you in a way that is just reminding you that God is not done with you yet. He's not done with you. There's still purpose for you. Do not believe the lies of the enemy trying to make you feel that you are less than or not enough, or there's no purpose for you. God always has a purpose and has a plan for all of us. And although we might not be able to see it while we're in it and in the midst of it, there is always a purpose and a reason. And God knows that we are there, and he's right there with us through it all, as long as we just come to him and ask him for that help. Because for the longest time, I was wanting to do everything and handle everything all on my own, and I didn't want to feel weak. And so it's crazy, because that is when God is able to come and make us feel strong. It's like he is able to help us in our weakness, right? Through our weakness, he is made, like we are made strong through him when we are in those moments. And that's exactly the time to come to Lord, not just when you're weak, but also when you are grateful and happy and joyful and all those different things. But he wants to be in it all, and he is with us all when we can really cling on to him in those dark moments, in those dark seasons. And I'm just feeling that I needed to share this message, because I don't want to believe the lie the enemy has been telling me, that my voice doesn't matter, my testimony doesn't matter, what God has done for me doesn't matter, because it does matter, because it could help somebody else. And of course, why would the enemy want me to be able to share that and help somebody else get closer to the Lord? And so, yeah, like I said, if that's not something that resonates with you and you're like, nope, then go on ahead and unfollow. That is totally fine with me. However, I pray that you don't. I pray that you stick around, that you, even if there's a little ounce of just curiosity, and you stick around, because as you know, that you and we might be the only Bible that people will ever read in their entire life. And if that is something that I can do by me just sharing and being a vessel for the Lord, then I will do it time and time again. And so I pray that this blesses you. I pray that this reaches you. And yeah, if you have a similar testimony or something to share about how God has really blessed you and has been there for you and has saved you from something, make sure you leave the comments down below, so then other people can see that God is still working. He is not done. He is always working, and is always working everything out for our good. So thank you so much for watching. And also, I always forget to do an intro about who I am. I always just jump right into it. But if you're new here, my name is Chanel Miller, and I am a mom of 2 boys, and I just share videos just about rediscovering who God has called me to be, both inside and outside of motherhood. And so I hope this video resonated with you, and until next time, I will see you all in my very next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.